Hey everybody, Saigan here. It's rant time. Why is it rant time? Well, Anime News Network had just posted an article. Square Enix reports 5.7 billion yen loss in April to December. That is a huge amount of money. That comes out to being about $61 million, and it's the first time that the company has been in the red since their merger in 2003. That is crazy. The article goes on to list that part of it might be that Dragon Quest X, although it's showing signs of steady progress, the game is not the huge hit that it anticipated. First of all, that is absolutely ridiculous. Did it sell as much as the average Dragon Quest game? No. Clearly. Nobody ever thought that it would sell as much as the average Dragon Quest game because MMOs aren't really a big thing in Japan. Their society works in kind of a different way from the West. They still have, like, hell, turn on Street Pass in Japan, you're going to get 10 hits just leaving the freaking house. Here, you have to go to a convention to get 5 hits. There's just a gap in the way that the societies work. So you can't expect that the MMO is going to explode in Japan when MMOs do so well here. It's more of a Western genre. Here's what is amazing about it, though. It is the first MMO that has been this wildly successful, and certainly more wildly successful than Final Fantasy XIV, which it is my theory, Final Fantasy XIV is where all the money is going. The year that they released 14, what was it, like 2 years ago, I think? That was their first time posting record losses. And that game lost them so much money, and I'm not surprised. I was there during the alpha. It was terrible. The worst part is every single bug report, every single balance report, every single thing that showed up in the forums for the alpha and the beta stages addressed every single issue that Final Fantasy XIV had. Square Enix took no opportunity to fix those. They wanted to release the game, they wanted to release it their way, they didn't want to listen to the playtesters. It came out, what happened? It was terrible, just like I thought it would be, which is why I didn't buy it, which is why nobody in the alpha bought it, which is why the game failed miserably. So what is Square Enix's plan? We'll release it again. I would have loved to have been in that board meeting where somebody actually said, well, let's take Final Fantasy XIV and we'll make it again and spend more money on this flop of a game after all the interested parties have gone, that's kind of terrible. And we'll release it again. And the room erupted into applause. How alien of an idea is that? That's pretty freaking psychotic. Square Enix is still perfectly capable of making amazing games. Obviously, I've been playing Dragon Quest X. I love it. It is fantastic. Dragon Quest VII for the 3DS just came out. Famitsu gave it a 35 out of 40. That's a pretty good score. I don't think it's as good as the original Dragon Quest VII, though. Final Fantasy Dimensions. I have ranted about Final Fantasy in the past. Final Fantasy Dimensions is actually a really good example of a good Final Fantasy game. The story is still juvenile, but the system is there. And it actually plays really well on mobile devices, which I didn't think was possible. The issue is that Dimensions gave Square Enix a big head. With Dimensions, they proved we can make mobile app exclusive games and they can be good. Dimensions is just as good as any of the 16-bit counterparts. Maybe not 16, but it's really hard to compare to 16. So Dimensions comes out, it's good. Square Enix has a hit on their hands. Everybody loves it, and they're like, what do we do? Let's throw out every game that we've had in development. So we got crap like All the Bravest. I'm sure you've heard. All the Bravest is terrible. It's games like that that sink companies regardless of how big they are. Because a game like that tells the consumers that the company does not care. They're just trying to make a dollar instead of trying to make games that will make them that dollar. They need to start working like a game company again instead of this big, scary, looming corporation that they've become. Which brings me to my next point. Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm. It's fun, right? God, do not pick it up on the mobile devices. It's filled with microtransactions. And honestly, it's just cheaper to buy the damned thing on, what, the 3DS? I think it's 3DS. It's just cheaper to buy the damn thing on the 3DS. I don't know why anybody would buy the mobile version unless they really, really, really wanted to continue spending money every time they want a new song or a new character, when all of them are there on the handheld console. It's just so stupid. The best thing that Square Enix can do right now is they can go back to developing solid games. Throw out the stupid, throw out the otaku nonsense. We know that your heroes are going to have spiky hair and big swords. I think Square Enix needs to go back to basics and look at what made their games good in the first place. Stop focusing on cinematics. They're cute. They were cool back in the day when we were, really showing off what new consoles could do. Nobody cares anymore. You can make cinematics look as amazing as you want. Put it in the gameplay. You have these amazing ideas. Put it in the gameplay, not in a movie. I want to play. I don't want to watch. That goes to you too. Konami, Metal Gear, fix it. What else? I was all steamed when I read this, and I'm like, I'm calming down now that I'm talking about it. Stop blaming Dragon Quest X. I'm gonna say it again. So many people, I think people want to see it fail because it is not single player, because it is an MMO. Should it have been called Dragon Quest X? No, they should have just called it Dragon Quest Online. Same thing with Final Fantasy XI. That shouldn't have been called 11. It should have been called Final Fantasy Online. So, yeah, you shouldn't have thrown the number in there. I'm sure that agitated some people. You should have just been straightforward and said, hey, it's going to be an online game. It's good. It's really, really honestly good. It is Dragon Quest first and an MMO second. Anyone who's watched my videos can tell you that I've spent most of the time playing with hired NPCs, very much in the vein of Dragon Quest IX and Dragon Quest III. I go to the tavern, I hire some NPCs, I head out and adventure. It's very rare that my friends I are actually on at the same time. When they are, hey, great, but the game is totally, completely, 100% playable without the party members. As far as the game requiring a subscription fee, well, that's true for Japan, and Japan is really starting to move into being ready to play MMOs. This is hugely successful for an MMO in Japan. People are willing to pay it. I was willing to pay the stupid import fee, pick up a second Wii, go through the trouble of hacking it. It's a good game. I'm not saying that every Dragon Quest fan in the US should go through the amount of trouble that I did to play the game. Wait for it to come out here. If Nintendo's smart, which Nintendo's a lot smarter than Square Enix lately, they'll release it here for the Wii U. They need some good titles for the Wii U, and Dragon Quest X will be more popular here in the US because it's a family-friendly MMO for their new system. Release it. Maybe it'll have a subscription fee here, maybe it won't. If it does, and that bothers you, well, get a job. Servers cost money. If they go free to play, hey, great. But with it being free to play, you're going to have to expect that less work is going to be done on the servers. Monster Hunter Tri in Japan was heavily supported, but there was a monthly fee. Monster Hunter Tri here, Capcom did what they could on a limited budget. Tri here had a lot of server issues. I was getting booted a couple of times a day. It was very rare that I would actually start a mission with 4 players and end with 4 players because the servers were just, under this load and nobody was paying a monthly fee. So where are they getting the money for server upkeep? They're not. Nobody's paying for it. I had more to say and I completely forgot what it was. Anyhow, the article is on Anime News Network. It popped up in my Dragon Quest news lineup. Anyhow, I'll link it below if you want to take a look at it. They need to invest in making better quality games. They need to show people that they're capable of being Squaresoft and Enix together. That was an amazing thing to see happen. You had the 2 biggest JRPG giants merging. What happened? That's all. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night. Oh, there's